Hello and welcome to day 3 of our journey through Acts 28. And so we're in the final chapter of Acts. Yesterday, Paul finally made it to the boot of Italy in Rhegium, the very tip of the boot in the south. And now today he's going to head north along the west coast and he's going to make it to Rome. So let's go ahead and dive in with the second part of Acts 13. And after one day, so they only spend one day in Rhegium, a south wind having come upon them, we like south winds. We came into Puteoli on the second day. It's kind of a weird thing here. We, second dayers, kind of a weird use, but apparently this is the way Greek says on the second day. You modify the we, second day people, came into Puteoli. Puteoli is over halfway to Rome. So this is a bad map. I've taken it from Wikipedia because there's no copyright. So you can see Rome here at the top. Puteoli or Rhegium is down here at the bottom. So we've got to make up this distance here. And so they make it all the way here to Puteoli. You can barely see it, but they make it to Puteoli from Rhegium in 2 days, 2-day sailing way. Now they're going to go up the Appian Way to Rome. This is the main route into Rome from the south, if I'm understanding correctly. You see Pompeii there. Okay, Pompeii has not erupted yet. That's in 79. So we're good. We're good. We've got a few years. Okay, so 14. Where, having found brothers, so in Puteoli, they're apparently Christians. It doesn't say whether they're Jewish Christians or Gentile Christians, but they find brothers at Puteoli. We were encouraged by them. Aorist passive, right? Theta, eta. Aorist passive indicative, first singular from parakaleo. We were encouraged by them to remain 7 days. I talked about in the podcast, and I apologize for the sound quality in the podcast. I'm experimenting with this new mic to see whether holding it up to my mouth works better. Let me just say it did not work better. But I'm going to leave it as it is. And I have the mic turned around now, so we'll see if that's any better. But he stays 7 days to remain. This is epimeno, internal lengthening, the alpha. This is aorist infinitive of epimeno. I assume that Paul's paying for all this. I mentioned that in the podcast, which means this is quite an expensive imprisonment he has here. And thus, into Rome we came. This is aorist on 2 accounts. It's aorist from the elth, and the alpha is peer pressure. It could be elthomen, would be perfectly fine. But the alpha is, sometimes these second aorist irregulars said, I want to be like the other aorists. They all have alphas. Why can't I have an alpha? Okay, fine, you can have an alpha. So these alphas here are kind of a mixture of a normal aorist with a sigma alpha and the irregular aorist that these ultimately are with the elth, second aorist of Urkomai. Aorist active indicative, first plural. We came to Rome. Verse 15 kind of then backtracks, interestingly enough. And from there, Kai Akathan, we've seen this before. And from there, the brothers, having heard the things concerning us, they came into a meeting with us until the Appian Forum and 3 taverns. These must be different brothers, I assume, than the ones at Puteoli. Again, if we look at the map here, it doesn't actually say, but right in here, this little bit, somewhere in here, I believe, is where first the Appian Forum and then 3 taverns. They're somewhere along the way here, somewhere in here. I'm not sure exactly where. I'm sorry. But you can look it up because you can look at other things that are copyrighted that other people have put up. But it's along that Appian Way on the way north. 3 taverns. I didn't think Wesleyans did that. Well, Paul wasn't a Wesleyan. Well, it doesn't say they drank either. A tavern is a place, of course, you stay. It's like their version of a hotel. But this seems to be actually some sort of a village. So this is not a tavern. It is a place. I assume there are 3 taverns there. I wouldn't be surprised if that's where it got its name from. And tavern, again, would mean a place to stay. And you would expect these sorts of places to be near Rome, wouldn't you? So all of that was completely irrelevant. Whom Paul, having seen, so seeing these brothers at the Appian Forum and the three taverns, whom having seen, Paul, having given thanks to God, he took courage. Lobbing you in aorist, aorist active indicative third singular. Sigma alpha, this is aorist, so this is an aorist active participle. So Paul took courage. Okay, verse 16, and when we came to Rome, so they made it all the way to Rome, and now we can dispense with the map up on the Appian Way here. And when, temporal clause, when we came, elf is the aorist, so this is the aorist active indicative first plural of ace erchomai. When we came to Rome, it was allowed, this is aorist passive of epi trepho, I think. You'll notice it's a second aorist passive. That means it doesn't have the theta. So this would normally be a theta eta, but this one doesn't. So it's it was allowed, aorist passive. It was allowed to Paul to remain, or to be remaining, it's a present infinitive, right? To remain according to himself, reflexive pronoun, by himself, we would say, with the guarding him soldier, with the soldier who was guarding him. This is a present active participle, guarding, with the guarding him soldier. So apparently there's a soldier assigned to Paul for the next 2 years, which again, money, 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 money. Somebody's paying for this, I assume. The Romans aren't going to pay for it. 17. And it came to pass, again, I hope you know agenata by now, aorist, middle deponent, indicative third singular from ginomai. It came to pass with, after days 3, so after 3 days, him to call together the ones being first of the Jews. So he's calling together the leaders of the Jews. We talk in the podcast about getting out in front of the story before they hear something else. This is a typical construction. It came to pass, accusative plus an infinitive, him to call together. The subject, quote unquote, of an infinitive is in the accusative case. To call together, sigma alpha, this is aorist. Aorist middle infinitive, soon kaleo. Him to call together the ones being first, the leaders, in other words, of the Jews. The being of the Jews' first ones. It says, this is a present participle of ami. And them having come together, they were saying to him, imperfect of lego, genitive absolute here, elf is aorist, aorist active participle, my aunt is an active participle, from soon erchomai. We have a direct quote here. I, men, brothers, having done nothing against the people or the fatherly customs. Okay, so he says, no matter what they tell you, I have done nothing against Israel. I am not an enemy of Israel. Read my lips, not an enemy of Israel. Not against the customs of Israel, wouldn't be prudent at this juncture. I'm not against the fatherly customs. George Herbert Walker Bush died Saturday, for the record, as to why I'm thinking George Bush, or Dana Carvey imitating George Bush, Saturday Night Live. Sorry. Anyway, okay. So having done nothing against the people or the fatherly customs, the ancestral customs, I was delivered into the hands of the Romans as a prisoner from Jerusalem. I was handed over paradidomi. It's aorist passive. You can see the theta eta there. Aorist passive indicative, first singular. I was delivered into the hands of the Romans as a prisoner from Jerusalem. Okay. Verse 18, who, that is the Romans, having interrogated me, having investigated me, this is aorist. You can see the alpha there, aorist active participle, anacrino. That iota has been internally lengthened, but the thing about iotas is they look the same whether they're short or long. And so I know, I can feel a long iota here. You know, it's a long iota. I know because it's aorist, but it doesn't look any different. Who, having investigated me, they were wanting to release me. So this is aorist of apoluo, sigma alpha, aorist active infinitive. This is imperfect of bulo, they were wanting. Because of the to be, no charge of death upon me. So this is a dia ta infinitive construction. It's a causal construction on account of the to be, no cause of death, no charge of death, no grounds for death upon me. So they were wanting to set me free. present infinitive. Okay, verse 19. But the Jews opposing, genitive absolute, this is present active participle. I was compelled. I didn't want to. Theta eta is aorist passive indicative from anankadzo, to compel. I was compelled to call upon Caesar. Sigma alpha tells me this is an aorist, middle infinitive, epikaleo. Not having something to accuse the people of me, the nation of me. I have nothing against Israel. I have nothing against my people. I have nothing against you guys. I have nothing against myself. I'm a Jew. I had nothing against my people. I just had to call upon Caesar because I had this opposition, and I had to play the card I had. And so that's there we have Paul, the present participle. This is a kategoreo, present infinitive, indefinite pronoun. There you have it. And so we come to the end of day 3 of our final week, week 35, in the book of Acts. Let's move on tomorrow.